What's up guys, and welcome to my channel. On my last video, I went ahead and graded all the decks from the SpeedDuel Duel Academy box, and for today's video, we're going to be grading all the ones from the Midterm Paradox. If you didn't catch the last video, we do have a few criteria that we're going to be basing off all the grades of each of these decks, and they are as follows. We're going to be grading off the deck's power output, its consistency, utility. Alongside those criteria, we're also going to be basing it off the 20 card deck that you get when you buy the box. And as well, we're going to be basing it off the skill each deck is expected to be played with. On the last video, I did get suggested to use the best skill each deck has available to them, and I was very interested in that idea, but I was also suggested an idea that I could do at the end of it all, a final tier list of each deck being graded by the best skill each of them has, and actually, I think I like that idea way better. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so without all that being said, let's go ahead and start grading. So starting off for the Midterm Paradox decks, we have Jaden's newly improved hero strategy. And you know what? This is a significant upgrade compared to the last one we've received. And I believe this is probably a solid C tier to maybe like a low B tier deck. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with high C tier. And let's go ahead and discuss why. Alright then, so off the rip, we can see one big change of this deck. That, of course, is the addition of Skyscraper 2 over the regular Skyscraper field spell. And this is a significantly better card for the deck, just because it adds a certain level of consistency and recursion with all your hero monsters. I guess some people might disagree whether this Skyscraper is better than the last one, because the other one does give you like a 1000 attack boost when you attack, so that is nice, but I prefer this one over the other. But as far as the monsters go, there isn't that big of a change. We still have the same roster of monsters, the Avian, Percentage, Exclaimant, etc, etc. Actually, it's kind of egregious just how many reprints we have from the last one. The new additions, however, are cards like Dark Catapult, which I don't really care for, it's mid. However, the card that matters here the most is Elemental Hero Blazeman, which is a phenomenal card for Jaden to get access to, being able to on normal summon add a copy of Polymerization, or has the effect to be able to send an Elemental Hero monster from the deck to the graveyard to gain its stat line alongside its attribute, which is a pretty cool effect but doesn't really do all that much in this deck. But besides that, the spell lineup is pretty okay. We still have the Poly, we have the H Heated Hard, we have the R Righteous Justice. A Hero Lives is huge actually for consistency, however it is at the cost of half your life points. And finally, the last card we have access to is the Philosopher's Stone, which is, it's such a gimmicky card, so it's whatever. The trap cards are, again, pretty okay. Hero Signal is just consistency, Hero Ring is more niche, and Hero Counterattack is pretty okay under certain circumstances that allow you to cheat out cards like Blade Edge, so that's pretty cool. As for the fusion lineup, this is where my biggest issue with the deck that prevents me from putting it like in B tier. There's only one worthwhile card to go into, and that being the Nova Master, which is a really good card. Wild Wingman has a good effect, but it's like its materials are a bit jank to use, and Electrum and Tempest just require way too much. Alright, but now let's go ahead and discuss the skill, which actually is pretty good. This time around, Jaden gets a way better skill. So this skill reads, activate the skill during your main phase, discard one card, then fusion one Elemental Hero fusion monster from the extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, which is very nice. Just being able to fusion summon whenever you want it in the hero deck is great. If fusion summoning an Elemental Hero fusion monster this way that requires 3 or more materials, and you control 2 Elemental Hero monsters that are mentioned as materials, you can also use monsters in your deck as fusion material. This skill can only be used once per duel. And this is another reason why this skill is kept at like a high C tier, but not B tier quite exactly. The fact that it's a once per duel effect hinders it a bit, so I feel like overall, high C tier is probably where it belongs. Yeah, I think I'll take it over like the Crystal Beast deck or the Volcanic deck. Alright then, so up next we have the Roid deck. And honestly, this is it A? No, I don't think it's A. I think it's like a high B tier. Slowly creeping up on a low A tier. Yeah, we're gonna go high B tier for this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly this deck has available to it. So the deck is very Roid centric, which is really good. It's a really good sign. Steroid is a phenomenal card just to give because it's just able to run over like a surprising amount of cards. Roid is phenomenal for dealing with set monsters. Roid is a awkward searcher just because it's level 5. I'm level 6, my bad. Mechanical Hound is actually a pretty cool card. Express Roid is cool for recursion with your Roid monsters. Submarine Roid is actually a strategy on its own and a really good card. Truck Roid has a really funny like strategy behind it that I had a buddy of mine show me. They dubbed it Truck Roid Beatdown, which is it's funny how this card can just steamroll out of control if you give it the right setup. Let's go on. Rescue Roid is a pretty cool card. Mixeroid is the MVP of the deck, just being able to do so much for the strategy. Phenomenal card the deck had access to. But yeah, the monster lineup pretty solid, all things considered. Moving on to the spell cards, they aren't half bad at all. Weapon Change is a card that I honestly got sold on pretty effectively once I tested it out in the strategy, because a lot of these Roid monsters have really high defense, so being able to just like swap them a moment notice is really strong. Shield Crush is really cool just because if your opponent is playing defensive, you can just get rid of the monster. Vehicle Connection Zone is a really good fusion spell, and Twister is decent back removal. Moving on to the trap cards, there's actually really good cards here. Supercharge is phenomenal for consistency, being able to just draw your 2 cards, and Emergency Roid Call, if it's able to be set up, is a huge blowout card, just being even having an Omni Negate in the deck. The fusion lineup is okay. I mean, they're Roids, it's nothing crazy. But yeah, so that's the card lineup for Syrus. It's pretty decent, all things considered. But the main thing that carries it for me is the skill. So for this deck, Syrus gets the skill. The Roids are alright, and this skill is really good. Again, as I said, I like this skill quite a bit. So this skill reads: Vehicle Connection Zone can be used to fusion summon any Roid monster from your extra deck. All Roid monsters whose original level is 6 or lower can be normal summoned or set without tributing. This effect is huge, because the deck has a surprising amount of like high level Roid monsters that are made worse because you have to tribute summon for them, but with this effect they become significantly better just because they're easily summonable. So that's a big effect for them. But there's actually more to this effect. If a non-fusion Roid machine monster you control whose original level is 6 or lower attacks an opponent's monster, it gains attack equal to its own level times 100 during the damage step only. If you control a non-machine monster, flip this card over. And this is the cherry on top for this skill. The fact that not only are you able to just do normal summon actually every single Roid monster in your deck, you're also able to gain an attack bonus when attacking with those Roid monsters, which is an insane effect when you get it in practice. And honestly, I'm still debating whether or not, for now, I think I might put it like at the low end of A, just because the deck is able to do so much. And honestly, it has a certain level of consistency. It has a good amount of support cards. I'm actually super conflicted on this, whether it's an A or a B. Alright, we're gonna keep it in B for now, actually. Yeah, we'll keep it in B. I feel like there's decks that are better than this that might eclipse it. Alright, we'll keep it in B for now. Next up, we have the man Bastion Misawa with his chemistry deck. And I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. This is like not good. I feel like it's like maybe top of D tier, possibly underneath the Ojama deck. We'll give it credit and say it's above Ojama. Let's go ahead and cover what exactly is in this deck. Alright, so the chemistry deck for Bastion is confused is probably the best term I can use. So starting off, we have Water Dragon, because this is like the boss monster, well, pseudo boss monster of the deck. You'll see what I mean. Additionally, we have cards like Hisonaru. So this is not a great card to have in the deck. Hydra Geddon, you do get 2 copies of this, which is really nice. It's a phenomenal monster. Oxygeddon is okay. It at least has a nice attack stat. Jurak Protos and Iguanos are decent monsters for what they are. Carboneddon is phenomenal. I love this card. Dogoran is interesting in this deck just because it's a kaiju, so technically it's able to out any problematic monster you need to deal with, but the deck isn't really well equipped to deal with a monster like Dogoran on the opponent's side of the field. We also have Water Dragon Cluster, which is the other boss monster of the deck. It's okay. It's nice. I mean, I see the idea with Dogoran and Cluster being able to essentially like take game out of nowhere. Deuterion is another great card of the deck. and you also get 2 copies of it, so that's very nice. So the monster lineup it has some hits and some misses, honestly. Moving on, we have the spell lineup, and there's quite a few of them. Ryoku is interesting, being able to, you can pretty much out any monster with this spell card, which is very nice. Scarlet Bewitchment is funny. It's not good, but it's funny. A Legendary Ocean allows you to summon cards like Deuterion and give cards like Hydrogeddon a nice boost to be able to summon another copy from the deck. Let's see, what else do we have? We have Bonding H2O and Bonding D2O. These cards are awful. I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. These cards are horrendous. And while we're talking about them, Bonding DHO is not great either. It's slightly better, kinda, but all 3 of these cards are horrendous. And this is what's gonna be docking at points, honestly. Living Fossil is nice for consistency, and Curseal of the Forbidden Spell is nice, but a lot more niche as backward removal. And yeah, that's the deck. It's just, I don't know, it has so many weird aspects to it that I don't like, but others that I do. And the skill doesn't quite do it for me either. So the dedicated skill Bastion gets is Chemistry in Motion, and this skill reads: once per turn, you can place 1 counter on this card, then apply the appropriate effect depending on the number of counters on this card. 1 counter. Discard 1 dinosaur monster to add 1 dinosaur monster with a different attribute from the deck to the hand. That's awesome. That's a great effect, honestly. This does give the deck a lot of consistency to find the pieces you need. 2 counters. You can normal summon a wind or water dinosaur monster from your hand. That's an okay effect. 3 counters. The name of all water dinosaur monsters you currently control become Hydrogeddon until the end of this turn. Then add a Bonding H2O from the deck or graveyard to your hand. This is cute. I get what they're going with it. And finally, 4, remove all counters from this card, then change its attribute and type of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls to fire Pyros until the end of this turn. And yes, this is the final payout. My main concern with this skill is that you're not able to choose which effect you can get. It's all periodic based on the counters you place on it. And yes, speed duels do last a bit longer, kinda. You do get more turns to do stuff, but even then, that's still really slow skill. So it's not awesome. Yeah, overall, I think, man, I kind of think it might be below the Ojama strategy. No, it'll be above Ojama's, but not by a lot, honestly. It's just, the best case scenario for this deck is you're playing like Hydrogeddon Beatdown, and then hopefully you get access to your bonding cards if you don't clog up the field with other cards. I'm not really high on this strategy. As you can see, the bonding cards aren't great, and the payout is only okay. So yeah, D tier. Okay, so final deck we're covering is the Gate Guardian deck from the Paradox Brothers, and this is an F tier. I don't even know what I was thinking. This is arguably the worst deck I've ever seen from a Speed Duel product, and let's go ahead and discuss why. All right then, so here you have it. God, this deck is so bad. All right, so off the rip, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tribute monsters in this strategy, and one of them is just you're not able to summon this card unless you have the given summoning condition. That is a bad start. When 6 of the monsters you have in your deck are tribute monsters, and at that, multi-tribute monsters with like the Gate Guardian pieces, the Suijin, Kazujin, and the Sangha, you're not off to a great start. Additionally, we also have the clown strategy here for some reason. Okay, I mean, I love clown control, but they don't really fit here. We also have cards like Juragumo here, which are cute, but honestly, this card's going to be losing you games more often than it is winning you games. And yeah, we have cards like Stone Statue of the Aztecs, which is, I mean, it's alright. At least it has high defense. And the last monsters we get access to are the double tribute elementals. But yeah, the monster lineup it leaves a lot to be desired. But what about the spell lineup? Does it save it at all? Not really. We have nice cards like the Soul Exchange to be able to use opponent's monsters for tributing, which is cool, but you're not really making anything with this. Fairy Meteor Crush is nice, but you don't really have any card that takes advantage of it. Tribute Duel is cool, and Double Summon makes a lot of sense in this deck because of the double tribute guys, but again, it's not consistent. The trap cards are somehow way worse. Judgment of Anubis is really bad back removal, and Labyrinth of Nightmare is cool, I like it a lot, but again, you're not focusing on the clown control aspect, so it's not gonna do much. The skill they have access to is Behold Gate Guardian, which actually has an activation condition. So it reads, if you control Sangha of the Thunder, Kazujin, or Suijin, you can flip this card over. Activate this skill during your main phase. Shuffle your entire hand into the deck. Then add one level 11 monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, you can special summon up to 2 level 7 monsters with different attributes from your deck or graveyard, but their attack and defense become 0. Also, their effects are negated. While you control Gate Guardian, it gains the following effect. Once, while face up on the field, when this card is targeted for an attack, you can change the attacking monster's attack to 0 until the end of the damage step. Wow, so this is an awful skill. Honestly, it's just really, really bad. Because this skill really does nothing for the deck. Granted, if you are able to have one of the elemental Gate Guardian pieces on the field, it does make summoning Gate Guardian easy. However, you're putting everything on the table just to have the big old beater on the field, and even then, it gains one of the worst effects I've ever read on a monster like it, because who in their right mind is going to be attacking into Gate Guardian? It's just bad all around. It does not help it whatsoever. So yeah, I think it can sit comfortably in F tier. It is it's so bad. But yeah, overall Midterm Paradox was not awesome. It gave us honestly very mediocre decks, with like Roids being like the best one by far. Alright then, and with that, this concludes part 2 of ranking every single Speed Duel deck from the sealed product. Guys, if you made it this far into the video, thanks so much for watching. And if you did end up enjoying the video, then make sure to smash that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe while you're down there as well, for more of my Yu-Gi-Oh content. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for watching all the way to the end. I've been your boy Topsy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.